Today, we're diving into how you can make your business worth 10 times more. Whether you are preparing to sell or simply building long term value, these strategies are crucial for every entrepreneur. So, you ready to maximize your company's worth? The road to increasing your business's valuation is often filled with challenges. Many business owners focus on daily operations but miss key opportunities to scale their company's value. It's easy to get stuck in the grind of revenue generation without considering the bigger picture. We all do that. There's so many demands on our day that we just want to do that and don't take a step back and really focus on what really matters in building long-term value. So, what is it that will make your business more attractive to investors or buyers or private equity or venture capital or strategics? What are those things? Common struggles include lack of differentiation, businesses that are just all the same. There's nothing that makes them stand out, inefficient operations. All of those make it difficult to grow the value of a business beyond the status quo. So, let's talk about some proven strategies that can significantly increase the value of your business. There are eight key drivers of value that we focus on in champion leadership, but I'll skip some of the obvious ones. Financial performance, fundamentals matter. They always have. Second, SaaS has this nailed down in a lot of cases, and that's recurring revenue. I can say a lot about that, but only contracted recurring revenue counts. So, depending on your sales model and contract structure, this can be a huge add to value, or I've seen it be a really surprise hit to value as well. But here are three, I would say, more non obvious ones. One is the size of your moat. And this idea of a moat came from Warren Buffett. The middle picture is your business is a castle where the gold, your customers, are inside, and you have a drawbridge and a moat to keep those competitors out. It's a good picture. So this is a moat. This is a strategic competitive advantage, and not one of those things of a strategic advantage like we have great service. Cool, not an advantage. It could be something like the cost of change. And an example of that, anybody knows Salesforce. Is it the best CRM in the world? Not for most companies, it's not. And but it's lots and lots of big companies have it. Why don't they leave if it's not the best? Why don't they want the best technology? It costs too much to change. And so they have a moat around that of difficulty of change. Another example would be like economies of scale. So how does a local data center compete with AWS or Google Cloud? You know, they have the economies of scale to provide just crazy services at rates that data centers would struggle to compete with. Could be brand recognition. Think about brands like Harley Davidson, Ferrari. For them, it's not necessarily about features. Does Ferrari have all the great safety features that a Honda or a Toyota has? No, not even close. And they only got two seats. Harley Davidson, are they really worried about competing with Hayabusa, for example? The speed, it's now they're completely different markets. It's about that brand. And so that's part of their moat is that brand story. So it's not necessarily about features. It could be a marketplace, like building an app store, or it could be a two-sided marketplace like Uber or Airbnb, where you'd have to build both sides simultaneously. That's a moat. Integrations, Zapier would be an example. So there are lots and lots of ways to build a moat. And the bigger the moat, the more valuable the company. The second is what I'll call the happiness factor. And how happy and loyal are your customers and clients? And a lot of times we'll measure that by an NPS score. There's a lot more to that, a lot more that we can do with that, but that's at the top level. We could take that a step further and on that happiness scale, and we could add employee happiness. So the ENPS score, employee NPS. Both of those factor into valuation because it really does affect the value of the company because what they're buying when somebody buys a company is that future revenue stream. And things that can affect it is if everybody hates their job, hates the company, and leaves, all that's a brain power walks out the door, or all the customers leave because they're really not happy and they don't like it, and they're not contractually bound, then that can go away as well. Those play into it. The third one is I'll just say significant concentration, and it's not think really hard concentration. This is like concentration of revenue. And this one bites a lot of founders, bites them right in the butt. Sometimes at the closing table, sometimes at the LOI, it can be messy. But concentration of revenue in a couple ways. One is in a single customer, the other is in their top 10 customers. And so that is a really important thing to pay attention to early on in the process and not be lopsided. There's a big chunk of my book is about that in particular. Other types of dependence would be dependence, and talking concentration would be dependence on key employees or an employee. If you have one person that if they left, the whole thing would fall apart. Sometimes that's the founder. And that can be a real bottleneck in a sale. It could be, say, your developer, CTO, salesperson. You have one superstar salesperson that can sell everything, but that's not something that can be duplicated. So, any kind of concentration or dependence there. And the third one I would put in this category is over reliance on a specific vendor. And the idea here that is that highly valued companies are independent of those. And the term that we use, we call it the Switzerland structure. So they're neutral, they're independent. So if your top developer won the lottery and retired to Hawaii, would it affect your business? If you were gone from the business for 6 months, would it affect the business? And yes or no. And either one of those answers, yes or no, both of those have an effect on business valuation. So there are lots and lots of nuances in these. And like I said, we focus on 8 key drivers of value. But getting those right are the key to making your business worth 10 times more. And these strategies aren't just for scaling. We like scaling. We definitely like scaling. But they're for scaling and they're for increasing the overall value in the marketplace because that's really where the gold is. So, which strategy do you think would make the biggest impact on your business today? Drop me a message. I'll send you a deeper dive into all 8 drivers. And share your thoughts and comments below. Don't forget to check out our next video on how to drive long-term growth. So let's build something worth 10 times more together.